Welcome back to the Aussie Diecast Racing League. I'm Brian Tolmie, and this is group number 2 of the JDM Challenge in wet and cold conditions in Australia. Let's meet today's drivers, starting off with the debutant on the channel, driving in the Nissan Skyline GTR. It's Matthew Parisi. Driver number 2 in the Honda Civic Type R. Welcome back to the channel, David Sparacio. Up next in the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, it's Jim Lysenring. And last up today, driving for Spoolheads Racing in the Mazda RX-7, it's John Alexander. Let's check out the odds thanks to Sportsbet. Lysenring here short at 165, Alexander 180, Parisi 195, and Sparacio at $2. Okay, let's check out the fastest time on this track, where it is Neon Leon James here leading at the moment with a time of 5.24 seconds in that Nissan 350Z. Cars are ready to rock. They're at the top of the mountain. They're locked in and ready to launch for race number 1. John Alexander and Jim Lysenring up the front of the grid for the first race of the day here at Thunder Valley. Let's begin the countdown. Who's going to get away to the fast start? Looks like Lysenring and Alexander going toe-to-toe. Lysenring takes over. Easy win for Lysenring there. Alexander comes in second. Parisi third on debut. And fourth for David Sparacio after race number 1 here at Thunder Valley in the JDM Challenge. Little bit of a power slide there for Jim Lysenring in that Evo in a time of 5.50. See on the replay here that Sparacio got a little bit loose, headed up towards the Pepsi signs and collided with Parisi, and that left Lysenring and Alexander out the front to take 1 and 2 in the first event of the day here at the Valley. Okay, we're back at the top of the mountain for race number 2 here in the JDM Challenge. Matthew Parisi and Jim Lysenring sharing the front of the grid for race number 2. Cars are ready to launch off for the second event in this JDM Challenge. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't. They're away, looks like an even start. Lysenring takes over now. It heads around that first corner. Well, there's pressure coming from behind. It's Sparacio takes over and gets the victory right on the line after a fast finish there from Alexander, who come in for second. Lysenring has to settle for third. What a finish by David Sparacio in a time of 5.69 seconds in the second event. Just there, Alexander got right into the back of Lysenring, stole a little bit of momentum, and that's all the invitation that Sparacio needed. And he claims his first victory of the day. After 2 events, we see Jim Lysenring sitting on 7, ahead of Alexander and Sparacio tied on 6. Parisi, he's got some work to do, sitting on 3. Cars are locked and loaded for race number 3. David Sparacio finds himself up the front of the grid with a debutant Matthew Parisi. Cars are ready to rock and roll. Who's going to get the fast start and the whole shot? They're away. Looks like another even start. There goes Parisi in that Skyline. Cars are all going backwards, and once again Sparacio finishes like an absolute steam train, takes a victory over Parisi. Third once again for Lysenring, and a disappointing fourth for John Alexander in the Mazda RX-7. Good time, that one of 5.53 in wet conditions here in Tasmania. You can see just there that Parisi got himself completely out of control, ended up facing the wrong way with David Sparacio, and just there Lysenring got himself a little bit confused, ended up facing the wrong way as well. So after 3 events, we see Sparacio on 11, just leading Jim Lysenring on 9, Alexander on 7, and Parisi sits on 6. 1 race to go here at the Valley. A very open affair, this one. Anyone can make it through to the final if they can put down their best race in the final event. See down the bottom there, the current leaderboard. This one really is wide open. Who's going to take out the final event and push themselves into the final as the lights count down? Away we go. Alexander from the outside and Sparacio the end. There's a massive tumble out the back. Alexander goes on to win. Parisi second. and there's been massive drama between Sparazio and Lysenring out of the top of turn number 2. Both cars have slid the entirety of the back straight on their lids and have come to stop in the beginning there of turn number 3. We see on the front on replay that John Alexander had a full-on spin to get across the line. There they are now with the paramedics, and they've been given the all clear by the track medical staff, which is a great sign. Let's see what happened here. Sparazio got full-on airborne and took a tumble. Lysenring said, anything you can do, I can do better. He ploughed into the rocks at the exit of turn number 2. John Alexander pirouetted and finds himself in front and moving on to the final next week here with David Sparazio on 11 points. Lysenring disappointed there with his 9 and Parisi on 7. But it's John Alexander moving on through, and that Mazda RX-7 joining him next week in the final in the Honda Civic Type R is David Sparazio. Commiserations have to go to Jim Lysenring. He was all over this one today, and apart from that massive stack in the last race, he was home and hosed. A good debut from Parisi. He was consistent from start to finish. Okay, let's go and check out what's happening next week. Obviously, it's the final of the JDM Challenge right here at the Valley. Let's have a look at those drivers who made it through. That's track record holder here, Leon James in the Nissan 350Z, taking on Chloe in that Nissan Skyline GTX. Today's finalist, David Sparazio in the Honda Civic Type R. And John Alexander for Spoolhead Racing, making this his second finalist in the RX-7. Well, if you've liked what you've seen, I'd love you to come and subscribe to the channel, help a little channel out, and come back next week for the final of the JDM Challenge right here at Thunder Valley Raceway. We'll see you then.